Detoxification is really misunderstood in today's time, and detoxification feels like something that we have to do externally or something extra that we need to do in order to detoxify. But in reality, body is in the continuous process of detoxification. The biggest thing that facilitates detox is the colon and the gut.
I just understood and I just was introduced to the concept of gut microbiome and how important it is, how horribly we've been taking care of our gut. If people want to better their gut health, 3 inexpensive, easily available things that they can do.
If we have the digestive function right, it can allow us to detoxify in a much better way.
So we were going to discuss detox pathways in this segment. And so now when you speak about detox pathways for the body, I would really like you to end it by giving them one definite way in which it can help them and what they can practice to help get rid of toxins from their body.
First of all, like we said, detoxification is really misunderstood in today's time. And detoxification feels like something that we have to do externally or something extra that we need to do in order to detoxify the body that we have. But in reality, body is in the continuous process of detoxification. And in order to explain this in a very simple language, we'll break it down into 4 things. So the first and the most primal way our body detoxes is via sweat. Sweat is the primary way to get the toxins off. And it's no rocket science that if we move, we sweat more. And in order for the body to produce more sweats, we need to be well hydrated as well. In our previous talk, when we talked about remineralizing the water that we drink, so when we sweat, body loses a lot of electrolytes and minerals that we have.
Wait, so when we make fun of people who sweat a lot, their bodies are actually functioning better than ours? Is that what you're saying?
Rather than thinking that their body is functioning better than ours, we can think of it in other perspective. The body's requirement for detoxification is higher, or rather that toxin buildup at this point in time is high. So it also helps to regulate the body temperature. And body's temperature is depending upon how well our thyroid gland is functioning, but that's for a completely different episode that. Yeah, so sweat has 2 purposes. And in order to facilitate this process, we need to move more. That's number 1. The more stagnant the things are, the more lack of flow there is. And the more lack of flow there is, the more reduced detoxification we have.
Okay. So exercising is about more than just looking good. It's about detoxification. It's about keeping your internal functioning right and helpful for health overall.
And also, apart from movement, one thing that really helps and something that we have incorporated for you is the use of sauna, which allows us to sweat a lot. Now, everybody might not have access to sauna and might not be able to use sauna to sweat on a regular basis. But walking is something that does wonders to your body. Walking is something that has been an evolutionary part of us. And human beings are designed to walk for a longer duration of time, walk and throw. So when you walk in a way that you're walking at a steady pace for a longer duration of time, that does a little more to your body than all the other kind of activities that we do. And there have been researches which show that walking more than 8,000 steps a day can drastically reduce the mortality rates that we have. And if we are wanting to incorporate walking, the best time to walk would be to walk after a meal. Because when we walk after a meal, it does things to facilitate digestion. And it also balances the blood sugar levels that we have.
The next detox pathway.
So the next detox pathway is something that people have heard about, know about, but don't understand it very well, is something called as the lymphatic system that we have. So lymphatic system is made up of 3 parts. One is the lymph, that is the fluid that we have. Other one is the vessel, it's the network of the thing that carries the fluid. And there are also something called as lymph nodes. So lymph nodes are basically the checkpoints that there are throughout this network that is within our body that we have. So the lymph node acts as a filter to filter all the pathogens, bacteria, and all the other things that are unwanted by the body that we have. And this node consists of white blood cells, or WBC as we know them. So once the lymph fluid reaches the node, the WBCs help to fight off the virus, pathogens and bacteria that they are, and they dump those in the blood flow that we have. And many a times people feel knots in their groins, in their necks,
I feel a knot always behind my ear,
in their armpits.
in my hand also sometimes. Okay.
Yeah, so those knots are just lymph nodes getting saturated with the lymph fluid.
Okay.
And if one is experiencing those, that is your sign that you need to take a back seat, maybe reduce the toxin load at this point in time, rest it out, because if you are not going to rest it out, you may fall sick very soon, and your body will force you to rest from that point on. And again, what facilitates the lymph nodes is movement.
Again, movement.
Yeah, but this time it is movement done in terms of plyometrics. So like jumping on a trampoline, stretching the body out. Yoga does a very good job.
So, okay. So you're saying yoga, any dancing. Okay, jumping, dancing, yoga.
And doing activities where your body moves from one position to another.
Right.
So incorporating mobility days, which can be a yoga day as well, or doing specific stretches for the kind of workout that you have done, that will be really beneficial.
Right. I'm going to speak to Junaid today about my mobility day.
Yeah.
So what would be the next step in detoxing, the next pathway?
So the biggest thing that facilitates detox, which we are going to talk about next, is the colon and the gut. If done right, the gut can be the biggest tool that can facilitate the detox pathway. If done wrong, gut can be a source of toxin load.
I don't think I know anyone who does not have a leaky gut. And I just understood, and I just was introduced to the concept of gut microbiome and how important it is to our functioning, and how horribly we've been taking care of our gut. And there is absolute no diversity. I recently took a gut microbiome test, and I took the test thinking, I've just been at the, extremely strict with my the food intake and extremely healthy lifestyle. So I expected to get glowing results on that gut microbiome. And I remember my call to you, Alkesh, what is this report? It's a nightmare. It's an absolute failure. I have failed. I had less than 1% of the good probiotic bacteria that I needed for. Less than 1% when the ideal healthy human needs about 22%. And I had less than 1%. So it was an absolute fail on my gut microbiome test. So I'm all ears to know how I can improve gut health.
Yeah. So the experts are kind of divided onto the gut microbiome thing. But the general understanding is, if we diversify the kind of food that we eat, we kind of diversify the gut microbiome composition we have as well. From my experience, what I feel is we should eat food that are not gut irritants for us, and within that spectrum, we should eat all the things that we can accommodate to have a diversified gut microbiome. Having said that,
when you said gut irritants, it's like that things that make you bloated, things that cause pain, uneasiness. So that would be microbiome irritants.
Yeah.
Right?
And other gut irritants. Yeah.
So, okay. So now to improve my gut microbiome, for a healthy gut, you introduced a few fermented foods for me, like sauerkraut and what else? There was
kimchi.
Kimchi. So if people want to better their gut health.
Yeah.
3 inexpensive, easily available things that they can do.
Yeah. So, fermenting the food that we eat increases the bacterial content that it has, and it increases the microbiome concentrate that we have within our gut. Um, so sauerkraut and kimchi are the things that we traditionally know have a very high amount of microbiome content to it. But many Indian foods, like, there is one thing that I stumbled upon, it's called as panta bhat. So you take rice and you soak it in, you put it in water and you ferment it overnight.
Yeah, exactly, like kanji.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you eat it the next day
in the morning,
in
right?
the morning, yeah.
Would you say that eat it on an empty stomach?
Yes, if you
Okay.
can eat it on an empty stomach, that will be the best. So that will increase the gut microbiome diversity that we have. Apart from that, there are a lot of drinks, fermented
Kombucha
drinks.
and all of those
Yeah.
drinks. Just make sure there's not much sugar in it.
Yeah. And there are also a lot of traditional drinks that we can make at home, yogurt based, buttermilk based.
But I've always wondered, the yogurt and the curd that come in retail, do they actually have?
What I follow is, I believe that they do not come with it.
Right.
But eventually, when we put it through a fermentation process, it increases the concentrate of probiotics that it would have.
Okay.
It is always safe to assume that they would not have it, and we have to work towards making it that. Even if it has, it helps that way, because if it has and we are taking efforts to make it better, then we are having a better product.
Yeah, because especially I was surprised to see my results, because I've been taking a pill, a probiotic tablet.
Yeah.
There are tons of that in the market, and I've been taking that for years.
Yeah.
So how come my reports are so poor? So it's clear that obviously it's better to get your probiotics from live bacterial, from foods, from fermented foods. I think that your body is able to absorb that way better than taking it in a pill. What would you say about that?
If you're buying a store-bought, if you're using a store-bought product and it's been on the shelf, in all likelihood it has crossed the temperature threshold that it has, and all the stuff that should be live is dormant at that point in time. So that's one thing. The only exception is soil-based probiotics. So if we take soil-based probiotics, those are more temperature resistant. If our schedule and our work life doesn't allow us to put in that effort into going into the kitchen and making all those stuff, and we do not have access to all those things, if you are buying the products that have been on the shelf, soil-based probiotics is the stuff that we should be going for.
Okay. Again, disclaimer, guys, this is just from personal experience. This is not endorsing any product or the use of a product or not using a product. We're not endorsing that. This is just from personal experience, and this is not medical advice of any sort. This is purely based on using things, understanding the body, and over many, many years.
Yeah.
So this is what has worked for us or not worked for us.
Yeah, and also it's a little difficult to find a soil-based probiotic in India right now. Or maybe you can come up with a brand or a product, that, yeah.
Soil-based, you say?
Soil-based, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At this point in time, going the traditional route, fermenting our food and consuming it from there would be the best.
It's the easiest, it's the best. Yeah. And like you said, like kanji it's what every child used to get when they were sick. It's something in every Indian home.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next pathway, there is also a very important thing that we need to touch upon if we are talking about gut, that is the digestive function that we have. So when we talked about, when we are stressed and we are always forward looking to work, body does not understand the difference between a perceived threat and a real threat. And the survival mechanism takes the front seat and other function takes the back seat. The one function that takes the back seat is the digestive function that we have. and that takes a backseat in a way that body it reduces the amount of stomach acid that it releases
During stress, is it?
yeah.
Okay.
And let's just say when we eat our food, and if the stomach acid is less, we won't be able to break down our food, and the food will not be digested in a proper way. And when the food is not digested in a proper way, the body can't evacuate the food. That's why people have constipation. And when the food is half digested and sitting in the gut, it gets fermented. And the fermented food is a fodder for the bad bacteria within the gut. And that kind of tips the balance between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria we have within the gut. So even if you're having all the probiotics in the world,
if your digestive system is not functioning
correctly, then the balance that we are looking for, we won't be able to get. And also stomach acid has a function of keeping the bad bacteria in the gut in check. And also that half fermented food is also a toxin load to the body, and the body kind of reabsorbs that. So that's why I said if we have the digestive function right, it can allow us to detoxify in a much better way. But if it's compromised, it can add to the toxin load that we have. Now, having said that, what do we do about this? Number one, we should be doing it. Our parents have been asking to do it. We have been traditionally doing it. But before eating the food, we need to get our mind centered, the thoughts centered, and practicing gratitude before
oh my
we
God,
eat.
this is something that I just recently started doing was before I eat to just say a line or two, thank you for this food, and thank you food for nourishing me and healing my body. This is something and obviously as a child in a Christian household, my mom would pray before every meal, and it was compulsory to pray before each meal, and I think that's in every household, right? But somehow we none of us do it anymore. So how does that help with digestion?
So practicing gratitude has this thing where it gets the balance back from fight and flight to rest and digest. So if we do it right before when we are going to eat, it facilitates the release of stomach acid.
Wow.
Within our gut.
So you're saying, suppose I'm on a really stressful call and I'm like eating, right? My digestion is like messed up. For sure. Oh, damn. That's like everybody, right? Like that's everybody. Nobody actually sits down and eats without doing other chores. I think we've lost that habit completely. And that is messing up our digestive system.
And also, I'm not a fan of working lunches.
Working lunches. Which everybody, almost 90% of professionals do it. They work through lunch, and that is okay.
And having meals on the go. And all those things is going to compromise the digestive function that we have. If you are somebody who is going through this, who is always wired when they're trying to eat and they're facing constipation, try to have apple cider vinegar as they eat food. So let's just say take 200 ml of water, add 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar to eat.
Before a meal?
No, just take the first bite and sip apple cider vinegar. Keep doing that. That kind of acidifies the gut environment that we have. So till the time we work on the stress levels that we have and we get the mental balance in check, that can be a good tool in order to mitigate the damages that we are going to have till the time we reach to that point.
It's insane, right? Like you're supposed to work hard for to live an amazing life. And at the end of the day, all we do is work. We don't even have time to eat food well, eat food in the way that food is meant to be consumed. It's just so sad that we have to, I hope not everybody has to find out the hard way that of all of the bad habits that we have. And that's the reason for this podcast, so that people can take preventive measures and just understand what we're doing wrong, because we're doing so many things wrong during the course of the day that we had no idea that we were doing wrong.